Right. Hello, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. My name is Frank Lavinia, and today is a little something I like to call High Impact Tuesday. All right. Good. The audio is working. I wasn't sure for a minute there. My name is Frank Lavinia, and you can catch me at the following URLs: franksworld.com, datadriven.tv, and impactquantum.com. I am here today, and today is my birthday. So I don't have a birthday hat, but I do want to send out a sincere thank you to everyone on every social media platform that has sent me a birthday wish. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you're having a fantastic day. And I hope that I hope you're having a fantastic day. I know I am. And um, Interesting. I'm getting some chat messages here. That's all I've really got. One thing I do want to point out is I think there's an interesting series on Microsoft Research, and I am looking for that now. Actually, apparently, Microsoft Research just had a recent research summit that was virtual, and they posted a lot of their stuff to their YouTube channel. I'll make sure I post that in on when this ends up on YouTube or whatnot. But it was interesting. I was talking. The interesting thing here is there was a pretty good discussion on responsible AI, which I think is a going to be more and more of a concern. There was also a kind of a keynote on privacy and security in the age of big data and AI, which I think again you're going to see, I think, a lot more of that in the future. Because as these policies kind of evolve, obviously GDPR is in effect. And while it's not a perfect law, I think it's a step in the right direction. And privacy, having your privacy, kind of being aware when you're being tracked. While the short-term impact of that is that every website we go to, first time it says accept cookies. I think there's merit in at least being transparent about that, like what data is being tracked, and to a certain extent how that is being used. With that, let's see. Um, and All right, I don't have that Microsoft Research Summit 2021. Let me share that on my screen. I will do a side by side as soon as I share that screen. Here we go. Screen 4. Here we go. Talking about industrial research. Pretty interesting stuff. There's a lot of interesting topics here. And I think that that's definitely something that will come up. Um, I really like this talk here, talking about resilience and the future of work. Pretty interesting, heady stuff the folks at Microsoft Research do. I admit I'm a bit of a fanboy because MLADS, attending an MLADS or Machine Learning and Data Science Summit was the original uh, spark. The original was the original spark that lit the flame of me getting into data science. Hey, Robin, how's it going? Thank you very much for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. And it's cool how the emoji turns out different in this here and on the chat to the right. So thank you very much for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. It's been quite an eventful day. I actually was doing it's my second week at Red Hat. So I guess every 2 weeks they schedule kind of new employee orientation, new hire orientation, NHO. So it was cool to kind of go through that. And I had my red shirt on because I'm still waiting on my fedora. But rest assured, when that fedora comes, I will do maybe even a live stream. I will record it. I will appropriately hashtag it as the instructions suggest. So that's pretty much kind of what's going on. I also have some interesting OpenShift stuff I'll be talking about. I'm actually attending a meeting shortly after this. Hopefully, I'll get on the Peloton and for a few minutes, then shower. I don't have time to fix the hair before. Actually, doesn't look too bad now. I had my Mountain Dew hat because I thought, hey, nothing like Mountain Dew energy on your birthday. Um, Really great session, really great talking yesterday with Andy. That will end up being a show. I am having some weird production problems. So if you are a fan of the Data Driven podcast, um, there was some weird things happen when I published it last night. It kind of automatically did it, automatically didn't. So if you have any problems with it, let me know. I just opened a support ticket just before clicking live. Um, and doing that. Um, my wife got me this for my birthday. Um, I think she got a deal, so she said it was for my birthday. No, I'm just kidding. What's interesting about this is it tastes really good. And for those of you who don't know, I stopped drinking soda like about a year ago almost. So I love the carbonation. I get the carbonation, I get the flavor. This technically, I guess, is kind of like soda, but it's got caffeine in it and it's not kind of the usual stuff. It's also quite expensive, so I can't exactly down these like I used to down Dr. Peppers. Um, One more thing I did want to point out, and it totally escaped my mind. I guess that happens when you get older, right? Although beats the alternative. Um, the one thing I was going to point out was yes. So one thing I got for my birthday was this security camera system that I've been tinkering with, and I'm actually my long game goal, obviously recording kind of what happens and being able to see, when the Amazon Prime truck comes on my TV over there is definitely helpful. But a few weeks ago, there was just some guy, and apparently a lot of other neighbors had seen this, just some guy randomly walking through people's backyards, and I didn't. I walked out and I taken out the trash or whatever, and I see him coming from back behind my house. I'm like, who are you? Like, what are you doing here? And he goes, oh, I'm looking for a sign. And he's told other people like different things, that he worked for the gas company, that he was looking to buy a home in the area. So that got me thinking, like, in addition to our existing security system, I thought it'd be cool to like be able to like, have cameras and kind of see what's going on and see that remotely, have the cameras on the dogs, have a camera on another gift I got for my birthday, which is a hydroponic kind of setup. So I can remotely kind of check on the plants and things like that. I don't know. It's kind of silly, but it's cool. It has night vision. It doesn't have two-way audio though. That's my only, if I had to complain. There was a similarly priced item at Sam's Club that had two-way audio, but it was all wired. These are wireless, which I like because I can kind of change it based on the needs of what I'm doing and what I want. I only have to supply power, and I'm actually going to set up my solar rig so I can kind of point it at the forest and just generally see what kind of wildlife go by. Because it does have night vision. I know there are other cameras that you can kind of like tape to a tree or tie to a tree and kind of see what the wildlife is. I know hunters have those, but um I don't know if you can access them remotely. That I'm not sure about. But hey, it's an experiment, right? It's an IoT device. I also want to see if I can get into the video feed and pipe that to some kind of AI system. Now, it does say it has AI on board. It does do face detection, human detection. It also says it does vehicle detection, although I have this pointed at some. We've had some issues with flooding in the furnace room and the water tank. I have it pointed at the water tank, and it actually keeps telling me, "Hey, there's a vehicle sighted in your furnace room," and I'm like, "That is clearly a false." God, I hope it's a false positive, right? Fortunately, I fortunately, I know as a data scientist, I know how unreliable AI can be, or how you can get these kind of false positives. I can just imagine some poor uninformed person, um, like, oh my God, there's a truck and there's a vehicle in our furnace room. Um, but it'll be interesting because I'm looking at it and I don't see any obvious way where it would see that as a truck. I don't know, but that'll be an interesting thing. Again, in terms of a fairness and openness and explainable AI, I really don't know how they train these models. I don't know what model is on the system that's flagging that as being the case. So you really have to wonder, like, well, what was this trained on? And I think that really gets into kind of this responsible AI, or at least trackable AI, or what I used to see call XAI, right? Explainable AI, which I think is going to be more and more crucially important. Now, nerds like me, will want to know that information. Will the average consumer want to know that information? I don't know. At least not yet. I think consumers over time will demand more transparency. There's certainly been a big hullabaloo about right to repair. And there's an interesting YouTuber, Lewis Rossman, who I don't know where he lives now. He used to live in New York and he had a repair shop. And I guess he's run afoul of certain companies that would rather have their things kind of proprietary and not fixable, or at least a bigger deal. And so he has some interesting commentary and thoughts about what right to repair means. He's an entertaining guy to say nothing else, right? It's just kind of cool. He'll do like bike rides to the city. Although I think now he's moved like somewhere upstate or somewhere away from the city, which he explains in detail why he made that decision. Uh, really cool YouTuber. Let's see. Actually, I can do a search right now, right? Oops, nope. Lewis, Lewis Austin. There you go. Oh, pretty recent one about your car's data. That's pretty interesting. He's an interesting character, that's for sure. Um, he's an interesting character. How he moved. Um, that's pretty interesting. He's an interesting character, that's for sure. I'll have to see if he's willing to be on the podcast. Um, yeah, I know he's had actually. I think it was Apple that he had a few. I don't want to say run-ins with, but he's very. All right, specs. Is that a command I should just like shell out to the terminal and type in specs? Interesting. It's probably not a spam bot. I love Twitch, man. I love Twitch because I get some of the most interesting comments there. Apparently, I'm important enough on Twitch to spam. But thank you, Cax IPS or Caxips06. Thank you for commenting. I don't know what that means, so if you can explain that, but I can probably shell out to a terminal and type in specs. I am on a Windows device though, so I don't know how that'll work. Let's see. No, it's not. So it must be. I will fire up a Linux VM and check that out. W- One of the things that I wish I had done was um, sorry, chat came in. One of the things I wish I'd done is went with Red Hat Enterprise Linux on this machine. But my thought was prior to joining the company, I know I can be productive right away on Windows. But most of the tools we use are either G Suite or kind of browser-based tooling. I guess it really doesn't matter the operating system anymore. So I will. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I definitely am more and more leaning towards migrating to some form of Linux in the future. I will publish a LinkedIn. It's on my blog already, some variation of it, but some of the decisions that have been made around Windows 11, I don't like them. Ending support kind of, basically in 4 or 5 years, I think that's going to have an enormous impact, not necessarily positive impact on e-waste. I understand why they want to do that, but I think there's got to be a better kind of roadmap. If they did, I mean, they even gave Silverlight like a 10-year lifespan of support with an asterisk attached. Um, but to do that to Windows, now I know Windows 10, yeah, I mean, did come out a certain number of years ago, but there definitely needs to be more, I think, of a window from, because my assumption was that I'm running Windows Update, 20, 2021 H2 or whatever it is. I would assume I'd have 10 years from that update, not necessarily from the launch of there, which I think is where they're going with, which some people told me that was going to happen. Critical of kind of like, well, Windows 10 is the last version of Windows, right? It'll just be continually updated. And I thought, no, that's just crazy talk. And here we are. So I'm hoping that they'll change their mind. Typically, Microsoft will make a decision, and based on customer feedback, if it's proceed, if it's negative, they'll change the way, and they make the right decision more often than not, despite what some people think. But I do think that if they extended that from basically 10 years since Windows 11 came out, I think that would be a lot, or the last update of Windows 10. I think that would be a lot more fair, right? Because I just bought this PC here, and it's not going to work with Windows 11. Now, I probably could go in, mess with the BIOS, and turn on the TPM module, but I know how to do that. The average consumer is not. So that is kind of a concern. I also have a number of machines here that are still relatively in their prime that were not. I mean, this one behind me is not going to run. The 6 monitor rig is not Windows 11 compatible, which is kind of annoying. I haven't checked this laptop here, but my personal laptop, not like, so it's just very, I find it personally frustrating. But that's just my opinion. Um, it's a shame too, because there's definitely a lot of things to like about Windows 11. So, how did I get off that subject? Well, that's all I've got. I have some things to attend to, um, and got to hit that Peloton before my next meeting. So I just want to say thank you, Robin, thank you, Caxix. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you for that. And maybe he meant like glasses. I don't know when he said specs, but I guess I'll fire that off on my Jupyter notebook, which I do have, which is running on OpenShift, by the way. If you want to learn more about kind of what I'm doing, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Frank Diggs Data. Lately, my stuff has either been dog photos, or some of the AI generated art I've been building. I generated a happy birthday message as if it were designed by Ralph Steadman. It's pretty surreal. Definitely take a look. I'm going to post it later. So with that, I'll say I'll end the stream, and you have a fantastic day.